So I just want to tell people who think they're having a hard time, especially in the grants industry and the scene that's unfolding in Washington, D.C. That's all I'm going to say about that one. But I just want to say, don't be discouraged. Be encouraged, because new things are on the horizon every single second that we breathe, that we live. And Grantx is a fresh, bright light for our industry.
Finding grants is time-consuming and messy. How much funding have you missed? Grantx is the future of funding. Just tell us a bit about yourself. Our agent instantly researches your organization. No form filling, no manual entry. We build your profile for you. Our AI uses your profile to understand your funding outlook, then matches you with your best opportunities for funding from over 500,000 funders across federal, state, foundation, and philanthropic programs. Access key info and insights for each grant to better understand your likelihood of success. Everything you need to move fast and win. Workbench is your one-stop shop for tracking tasks, timelines, and storing your files, so your path to funding can be easy and organized. Chat with our AI to ask questions about each grant's key details, and leverage shared access and intuitive collaboration features to work with your team without the headaches. Our analytics dashboard tracks your success and makes reporting simple. We have plans for every organization and grant professional and provide AI-powered writing services if you ever need extra help handling applications. Try out Grantx now to change the way you win.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Grantx launch event. We are super excited to have you here today. My name is Maya. I'm going to be your host. I'm part of the growth team at Grantx. A little bit of housekeeping up front. So the agenda for this webinar is going to be an introduction to our founding team, followed by a live demo and then a Q&A at the end. You can leave your questions on whatever platform you're watching on. So if you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, just drop them in the chat and we'll get them in our streaming platform. Don't be nervous if you think that you're asking something too soon. We'll just skip over your question in the Q&A if we happen to have answered it in the demo. All right, we are super excited to have you here. So I am gonna intro the founding team and then get you guys into this demo. So first up, I'm gonna bring on Kevin Wu, our head of engineering. Welcome, Kevin. He brought his experience as an AI engineer at McKinsey & Co. to lead development and spearhead the engineering's team obsession with solving our users' biggest pain points. Hi, Kevin.
Thanks, Maya. Hi, Maya. Yeah, it's super exciting to see so many of you here today. What we're releasing is, really the fruits of months of hard work from an incredible team. And I truly believe this is a meaningful step towards revolutionizing the grant process.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. Next up, we have Lyndall Cumes, our COO. Lyndall's background is Lyndall combines half a decade of product and operations expertise to lead the development of Grantx's brain. We call that GRASP in-house. And he drives product using his experience both as a public sector researcher and a serial entrepreneur. Welcome, Lyndall.
Hi, Maya. Great to be here. Our teams internally have worked incredibly hard to develop some amazing new technology that we believe will truly revolutionize the grant seeking process. And we're thrilled to be able to finally share it with the world.
Awesome. And last but not least, we have our CEO and founder, Jacob Schoenberg. Jacob is a former AI strategist who discovered the need to fix the grant funding system while working on the impact of climate change in the power sector. Welcome, Jacob.
Hey, Maya, thank you. And welcome, everyone. We're really excited to show you what we've built today, and we're thrilled to have you all here. Guys, how you feeling? I know between the three of us, we've probably had about 10 hours of sleep over the last week. And Lyndall, I'm sure that cold that you have right now is really making this a perfect launch day for you.
Yeah, it's been busy, but feeling good. Really excited to be here.
Awesome.
All right, so next we're going to be diving into the demo, but before that, we're going to do a couple quick words from Jacob. So Lyndall, Kevin, and I are all going to come off the screen. You'll see us all again later, and we'll give it over to Jacob.
All right, so I know you're all waiting for us to give a walkthrough, and we will give you the full walkthrough in a tutorial in just a moment. But I wanted to take a second to really kind of introduce who we are at Grantx. Tell us really why we are all working so tirelessly to try and provide these solutions. It really all started about 2 years ago when I had the idea. I was working in the power sector, essentially working on the impact of climate change on critical infrastructure. At the same time, I was serving as an AI strategist, helping executives understand what is AI, what is it capable of, and basically how to use it most effectively. At the time, I was leading a project that was set to impact the lives of hundreds of thousands of Texans. And this was great work, as many of you are doing yourselves. And this project was set to be supported by grant funding, which we knew was out there. Unfortunately, the time intensity of the process alone ended up killing the project as a whole. And I remember sitting there with our leadership and saying, look, I understand, this is some of the most tedious work I've ever done. And, it's inefficient, but why aren't we using a better solution? How do we make sure we don't repeat the same process? And the answer was there really isn't anything out there that gets the job done. I knew the technology existed with what's happening in the AI world and decided time to build one. Really, this moment came out of an understanding that it's a systemic issue. And so our mission at Grantx is not to just solve one problem. Our mission is to try and fix the grant funding system as a whole, making it simple and easy for you to go out and get the funding you need to support the important work that you are working on an everyday basis, right? And allow you to focus on that important work, and we can handle the funding. Really, over the past 2 years, we've all come together as a team around this mission and worked probably more than a human should, really trying to build out the new technology that was required in order to make it easy to answer these questions of what funding is out there for me, or which grants should I actually take the time to apply to. And so we're really thrilled today to show you that we've really taken that first big step in answering those questions, and soon we hope to answer the rest as well. So without further ado, we'll kick off the tutorial where I will be introducing our new AI search agent. Lyndall will actually be explaining to you what is so amazing about Grantx's brain, which we refer to as the GRASP system. And we'll also be talking a little bit about our project management suite, Workbench. So let me pull up my screen here. All right. So the first step in search is just enter in your organization name and the website URL. The reason we're using Austin Wildlife Rescue here is during the first year of founding Grantx, I actually volunteered as a grant consultant for various nonprofits in my area to make sure that I could really understand firsthand what are the problems that people who work in the grant funding industry are dealing with every day. And I wanted to make sure that I was also developing relationships within the grant funding industry so I could kind of get to meet all of you and really understand the people who are experiencing these problems every day. When I worked with Austin Wildlife Rescue, we worked on a project that was about a month long. And it took about a month to really get just a short list of grants for them to apply to, that they should take the time to invest towards an application. And so the reason we're using it as an example today is because we can now do that month-long process in about 10 to 15 minutes. And most of the work is handled for you by our search agent. So the first thing you'll notice here is our research agent actually gathering this information for you to identify who you are. What we're doing is we're cross-referencing your URL, the domain, the organization name, and making sure we're checking multiple sources so that we can confirm, is this you, before we do a deep dive. This enables us to truly offload that often 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes up to a month, grant search and grant research process so that you have an AI agent handling that work for you while you can focus elsewhere And in just a moment here, we'll get a confirmation. And in case anyone's interested also, these little steps that you'll see here are just telling you exactly what our research agent is doing during those loading screens, because we understand that it's very valuable to be able to have an AI agent handling things for you. But we also need to be able to provide transparency to you so you can also see what it's doing. All right, so Austin Wildlife Rescue, perfect. So we'll just press confirm, and now the research agent is off to the races. Here's what's going on. We are building out a full report for you, gathering all the key information that we need to know in order to match you with the grants from our database of over 500,000 funders, including federal agencies, private foundations, state-level opportunities, as well as opportunities from corporate and philanthropic giving programs. I'll let Lyndall get into Grantx's brain, but I'll kind of hint a little bit now. Really what we're able to do is we're able to take all of this context from this report, moving years beyond a keyword search, and actually understanding the full picture of who you are, what are you working on, what have you accomplished in the past, and what are you most eligible for? What are you going to be able to meet in terms of compliance requirements, and really kind of have that full picture. We're then able to create that full picture for every opportunity in our database based off of its full NOFO, so we can truly understand what is that grant for? What are its different eligibility requirements? What is the funder that's releasing that grant? What are their evaluation criteria? What are their preferences? Not just by topic, but we're also able to look at historically, what type of organizations do they traditionally give grant funding to? And we can use all of that context in order to make a highly informed matching decision to make sure we're recommending the grants that you really just should go out and apply for. All right. So first things first, we have this report on what we found. This is all from publicly available data, and the sources are included at the end. You also have the ability to quickly toggle on editing in case you want to add or edit any of the information you find in this report. I'll quickly run through. You have your high-level snapshot, kind of key eligibility information. We can see a quick overview of the organization's mission and vision, their core offerings, key stakeholders and beneficiaries of the organization, as well as their financial profile. We can see some of their KPIs. And we also add a bit of a consulting point of view here, so that we can look into what are our compliance details and potential risks. What is the high-level grant eligibility fingerprint? Recent milestones, as well as potential opportunities and challenges for getting grant funding. The last sections here on this report are actually outlining the categories of information that we're gathering on your organization in order to fill out this report. Our goals for the number of sources that we've actually reviewed for this information, as well as the quality of that information we were able to gather. And like I mentioned, we include all the sources we use, as well as a confidence score. That confidence score represents how well do we feel this report represents you in terms of our ability to actually match you with grants. A last shout here is if there are edits you want to make to the report that you don't want to do on every line. Like let's say you want to do a high level change, like you've noticed your report focuses on one specific topic, but your organization has a couple of other focus areas you want to make sure are included. You can just quickly add in that as additional context or additional nuance that we may have missed, and it will be added into your report at a high level. The other key bit here is, like I mentioned, all of this information is from publicly available sources. What that means is if you have any proprietary information that will be important context for our matching process, or if you're seeking funding for projects that are still in the idea stage, so there's not going to be publicly available information, you can upload documents easily here. But now I'll just click search, and the agent starts going out and finding you those grants that you should apply to. Something to note is we have designed this agent to work in the background while you're off doing your other work, checking your inbox, or grabbing a cup of coffee. And our little oven loading screen will just set off an oven timer when it's done, so you can hear it, jump back into this tab, and see results. But now I will actually pass to Lyndall, our COO, to introduce the Grantx's brain to you, as well as kind of walk through the search results and tap into our workbench a bit.
Good morning again. I've been waiting for months to be able to share this with someone outside of Grantx. And today it's finally here. So we are unveiling Grasp, the brain that transforms how grant dollars find your mission. Right now, if you look at the funding tech space, the playbook seems simple. Just add ChatGPT. But let's be honest, large language models are fantastic storytellers, but they improvise facts, budgets, and deadlines. These are the exact details that decide whether a grant works or fails for your organization. So we decided that storytelling alone wasn't enough. We threw away that playbook and built something from scratch, purpose-made for grant seeking. I want you to imagine never needing to type another vague keyword again. The moment you join Grantx, Grasp quietly learns everything important about your organization. Think of it as a fingerprint. Who you serve, how big you are, your impact area, and even your track record when it comes to grant funding. Then, whilst you're having a coffee or checking your inbox, Grasp searches every funding opportunity in the US, from federal to private to philanthropic to corporate giving, and instantly hands you back the ones that match so well, they feel hand-picked. This tool is pinpoint accurate. 9 times out of 10, the top grant you see is exactly the one that you need. And opportunities outside of your geography, ones with past deadlines, or completely unrelated to your mission, never appear on your search. The reason this matters is when search works as well as this does, your focus shifts from searching for funding to planning how to use it. Consultants are able to reclaim entire workdays. Small nonprofits are suddenly able to move at big firm speed. Everyone in this room can spend less time chasing documents and more time building winning proposals. That's the leap Grasp delivers today. Now, whilst we are still waiting for search to load, perhaps we can answer a couple of questions that have already come through in chat. Okay, Anthony, yeah, great question. So we'll cover this in Workbench a bit later, but Grantx is set up for kind of multi-entity use. So if you're a university, you'd probably come in on our enterprise plan, and this allows you to manage multiple entities under one parent organization. You would set up context and leadership for different entities within, and you can manage the grant opportunities completely separately whilst having unified reporting and management at the top of the funnel. Yeah, we'll get into this in when we cover off the search a little bit more. In fact, search has just finished. So let's hop over there. These are great questions, and we'll get to them towards the end of the session. Fantastic. Yeah. So we've opened up search, and I'll explain exactly why these results feel handpicked. As we've mentioned, your fingerprint, not keywords, set the search. So we already know exactly what your organization is, what you do. Let's say that you run an after-school STEM program for middle school girls in rural Colorado. Grasp isn't just guessing, it's using that precise information to filter through thousands of grants in seconds. Then the rules kick in. If it's the wrong state, the budget doesn't match, or the deadline is missed, it is immediately thrown out. So we're never showing you close enough, because close enough is a waste of time. Then we get down to the secret sauce, the algorithmic magic that makes this really work. We have 2 lanes of intelligence working together. The first lane is asking, does this grant explicitly say what we need? It hunts for the exact wording matches. The other lane is a lot more subtle. It asks, does this grant document or notice of opportunity funder profile mean what we need, even if it uses different language? This dual process means that Grasp catches opportunities traditional keywords completely miss. And finally, we have the green badge. If a grant makes it through these layers and hits a very high confidence threshold, Grasp labels it with a green badge. Green means pre-qualified. Think of it as a junior analyst who already read the fine print, verified you meet the criteria, and says confidently, yes, you can absolutely win this. And the reason that this is miles ahead of anything else out there is the following. Traditional keyword searches and keyword databases miss 4 out of 5 good matches because they can't understand the context or the meaning. You get false positives. You are looking for, you're looking to fund a community health clinic and you're seeing grant opportunities for clinical trials. ChatGPT-like tools give you impressive looking responses, but they mix facts with fiction, forcing you into hours of verification. And Grasp cuts straight to the grants you can win instantly because it's designed specifically for grant compliance and your organization's need, not storytelling or guesswork. So we're eliminating the need to sift through maybes and almosts, and you can immediately start with a short list of grants that you can genuinely pursue. As you'll see on screen, you are able to completely eliminate the detective work. Clicking into a grant means that you can see everything about it, from a brief summary to the eligibility requirements, but also to our AI insights. When you click any pre-qualified grant, you immediately see why it fits. This explains why your organization fits clearly and simply. For example, nonprofit serving rural students are eligible, and then dives deeper into the eligibility and fit criteria. In our opinion, this is extraordinarily powerful because you're able to skip scrolling 50-page PDFs to confirm eligibility, and you aren't relying on blind faith in an AI's guess. You see the evidence, and if your board or auditors ask, the proof is already neatly packaged, ready to copy-paste. And finally, because your entire team sees the same information, collaboration is effortless. Tag colleagues, comment on grants, and keep everyone aligned without ever sending another email. In summary, Grasp is able to consolidate all information. As you see, we've just clicked into a funding source, all information around the grant, eligibility, NOFOs, all the way up to the board of directors for a private foundation issuing the grant. So Grasp isn't another search tool. It's a leap forward in how you discover, validate, and act on funding opportunities. Today, you've seen a system that delivers immediate, precise grant matches, uses your unique organization fingerprint to filter opportunities, and gives you verified insights and proof that you can trust. We'll now hop over to Workbench. As you can see, we're already on the Opportunities tab. So we think we've solved search, right? But what happens once you actually have these opportunities? Usually you dive back into chaos, 6 browser tabs, 3 spreadsheets, Slack channels that won't stop pinging, and an inbox that's always overflowing. Each missed deadline or lost attachment can cost you a grant, not to mention weeks of wasted effort, which is why we built Workbench. This folds that chaos into one clear, focused place where your grants, tasks, and deadlines all come together. Today, you can see clear task lists, checklists with owners, dates, priorities come preloaded to federal standards, and you can track them across grants. Every task that you can see on this screen here is tied to a parent grant, meaning that you're never missing deadlines and you're not getting these vague 90% done status updates anymore. If we hop over to our dashboard, we also have instant visibility for our directors and program sorry, that's the cult, and our program managers. These are simple counters that show you active grants, tasks at risk, and upcoming deadlines. Think of this as the first real-time heads-up display for managing grant pipelines. Every piece of information Grasp finds is available in Workbench. You won't hunt down documents or scroll emails. It's one source, one truth, one platform designed around how grant professionals actually work. And in the coming months, we will be launching, in the coming weeks, in fact, we'll be launching the following features. We'll be launching Kanban boards for opportunities which allow you to visualize grant stages, instantly spot bottlenecks, and automatically alert teams when workflows get stuck. There'll be built-in document storage, allowing you to upload, link, and access critical files without ever having to leave the grant view, in addition to being able to tie them to the grant you're working on. We'll also be launching our Chat with Funding Notice feature, which allows you to ask specific questions directly from each grant document, complete with the exact references. And finally, we'll be launching always-on search updates. This means Grasp, Grantx's brain, continuously updates your tracked opportunities, emailing you the moment something new approves. And in full, we'll be integrating a budget planner, which allows you to tie tasks and costs and effort, eliminating your blind spots. We'll be introducing cross-workspace dependencies for our enterprise and consulting clients, allowing you to catch blockers early, redirect resources as needed. And finally, we'll have an audit-ready closeout, a one-click dossier for auditors, which means that your grant renewals can start smoothly from day one. With Grasp and Workbench, you move from finding grants to securing them faster than ever before, discovery and delivery simplified. To talk about how you can start using these tools today, I'll pass back to Jacob.
Thanks, Lyndall. All right. So one thing that I really want to mention here is we haven't just built these tools custom designed to solve your problems. And this is something we really stand by. Anytime someone has a need from us or finds something missing on our platform, we are open ears to any improvements that we need to make in order to make this the best solution for you. But we're also trying to make sure that our pricing is built to accommodate your needs as well. This is set up so that for enterprise organizations and nonprofits, etc., we actually use, our pricing model is success-based. What this means is if your organization maybe can't afford to pay $1,000 a month for a subscription, or can't afford kind of hiring an extra employee to handle grants, we make it so that you don't have to pay anything upfront to use our platform. This includes all of that full access to the search agent, as well as access to all of the features on our workbench. And then when you do win a grant using Grantx and that money hits the bank, we take a 5% commission. For consultants who want to use our tool, we have 2 subscription tiers. Freelancer provides access to managing up to 3 different clients at once. And this still includes the same collaboration features that Lyndall mentioned earlier. Obviously, Workbench is amazing because of all the features it allows you to use in order to kind of manage all of your work, but it also allows you to work with your team, sharing tasks, sharing files, etc. This is incredibly helpful for people who are working with clients on a day-to-day. Our professional consultant tier allows you to support up to 10 clients at once. Both of these come with a 7-day free trial. And anyone on this call today, we're also providing a discount code to give you 90% off for the next 2 months. So go to grantx.com, click on our pricing page, and sign up today. We would love to hear from you. And anyone who wants to put a call on my calendar to learn more about the solutions we're providing, the solutions that are coming down the pipeline over the next couple of weeks, as well as the stuff we have planned for a few months down the line. I'm happy to chat. And I'm happy to learn what we can do for you. With that, I will call a close to this tutorial, and we can open it up for a live Q&A with Kevin and Lyndall.
Awesome. Great job presenting, guys. You did really well. So we've had a ton of awesome questions in the chat so far. So I'm going to work through just from the ones that came in earliest to latest. If we answered your questions, again, we'll just skip over it. And then anything we don't get to, we'll answer in the chat. So you guys will all get all of your questions answered. But why don't we start with this question from David Broussard. How does Grantx identify private funding opportunities solely from 990s where there's no website?
Yeah, so the same way our research agent is actually able to kind of cross-reference information about your organization, we use that to basically automate that detective work on the back end so we can find any info that's publicly available about the private foundation, as well as their website and any grants that they have on their website or any other announcements that they've made. And Kevin, Lyndall, feel free to jump in if you want to kind of add on to my answers. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything.
I was going to say there is also a predictive element that if this private foundation doesn't have a website, but they consistently give out the same amount of money, whether that be a bucket or a rolling award, we're able to include that in our database.
Sweet. All right.
Oh, and
Next. Did you have something, Kevin?
I wanted to toss something in. I just saw another question that I'm just going to kind of address very quickly because I want to make sure it's quite important. I want to make sure we get to it. Carrie, you asked, for those of you who actually signed up for the $150 pre-launch promotion that we put out, you have that same 2-month access for the $150 that you spent when you purchased that pre-launch access. So you're good to go.
All right, next is a question from Amy, or more of a statement that I feel like we should address. She said that commission structure isn't allowed by most funders.
Yes. So this is something we actually spent about 8 months working on to make sure that it would be compliant with funders' requirements. And Lyndall, you led that project, so I will let you kind of jump on this one.
Yeah, sure. So the commission itself, I think if we take it as a success fee, may be disallowed by some funders. However, based on our research and conversations with compliance professionals in the industry, there is an industry standard of charging an administrative fee, which is how Grantx categorizes after several months of market research and conversations with industry professionals. We feel that this is permissible with funders. However, of course, in the event that this isn't a model that works for you in your business, this is what the subscription tiers are there for.
Yeah, I will also add on, this is not us asking for a portion of the grant. This is like a commission. It's if you win $100,000, we invoice for $5. That's not us saying give us 5% of that grant. It's saying, and we would prefer, pre-existing budget.
Awesome. All right, next question. My clients need to know their uploaded documents are secure and not used to train the platform. What is the privacy policy?
Yes, so we are SOC 2 compliant. Like I mentioned, your information is secure. We are not sharing that with the world. And Lyndall, feel free to kind of talk about how we train and how that protects users.
Yeah, sure. So from day one, we always wanted Grantx to be a tool that could be used with sensitive information, and quite frankly, in a government or government-adjacent setting. We never retrain on user data. We do have some reinforcement learning. However, this is based on user behavior, never the information or the interaction with the platform at a kind of informational or organizational level.
Nice. All right, next question is from Dean Alvarez. He said, does my team need to make multiple subscriptions to collaborate on the same organization?
Yeah, I'll actually pass this one to Kevin because I realized that Lyndall and I tend to jump on everything given the chance.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. I'll take this one. Yeah, so if you make an organization and you want members of your team within the same organization to collaborate, they won't need to pay. They won't need to make a subscription. And yeah, as long as it's within that organization, collaboration functionalities are open. On collaboration, we do have different roles within the organization. So we have an admin, member, and viewer, and this is so that it's more efficient for you to collaborate within your team and also share organizations with your clients as well.
Awesome. All right, next question. Can Grantx be applied to a brand new org that doesn't have a website or any specific information on the internet?
Yeah, so one thing that I will mention is we are here to help you win grants. However, it is still your job to make sure that you are prepared and making sure that you're thinking from the perspective of the funder. Funders are looking to make an impact, and so they're judging based off of not only your ability to make a sizable impact, but your likelihood of actually executing what you're promising you'll do. This means making sure that you have all the information you need. Now, if that's not public, that's fine. If you're able to upload information that you already have prepared, that works as well. But the key thing here is if you are still in a formation stage of an idea and you don't have a track record, there may be much fewer opportunities for you out there.
This question is from Allison Jones. Do you publish your taxonomy?
Oh, I'm definitely going to pass this one to Lyndall or Kevin. You guys jump on it however you'd like.
So our, I assume this is in reference to kind of scoring and evaluation taxonomies. That would be a no, unfortunately. The algorithm that we use is proprietary, as are kind of weightings and any scorings.
This question is from Veronica. What about information about board members and staff which clients need for cultivation?
Yeah, so you can expect to see this in search results in the next week or so. It's an addition that we're working on. The data already exists on the back end, but prioritization for launch. So we'll be providing a snapshot of board members and key decision makers within a granting organization, along with contact information where this is public and permissible for use.
And just to add on, if this information is not public, if you guys are a smaller company or you guys are a private company, you can also upload this information through the additional context or drop it in through a file.
Great. Okay, this one does not have a name on it, but can Grantx distinguish old opportunities and only provide upcoming opportunities?
Oh, I will absolutely pass on to you guys for this one as well. This is your bailiwick.
I can take this one. So Grantx Search will only return opportunities that either are forecasted or the opportunity deadlines are in the future. And we won't be returning you opportunities that have kind of deadlines in the past. So the search is designed to kind of give you grants that you can kind of hit the ground running with.
Okay, how many funders do we currently have in the database from Allison?
Oh, I know it's over 500,000. Does anyone have the exact number top of mind?
See, I spoke to Marco a couple of days ago, so I can give a better number. Yeah, so I can't give the exact ratios for obvious reasons, but we have around 750,000 funder profiles in our database. Now, this is across federal agencies, private foundations, philanthropic entities, family offices or kind of high net worth individuals, and corporate giving.
Man, I love this so much because, I think I spoke to Marco about this maybe a week before you did, and we were at like 670 or 670. So I love hearing how rapidly we're adding new data to the database, and that's something we hope to expand to be comprehensive.
We should also call out the fact that as of last week, we now have state opportunities in database as well. So with what's going on in Washington and what may continue to go on, which is Bev wisely said at the start of this, we won't go into any further. A lot of money is being redistributed to states. So we are in the progress of adding all US states and their grant portals to the database, which we can expect towards the end of this month.
And also to add on, we're always looking to grow our funder database. So if there is a funder or a grant that you don't see in it, feel free to reach out to us and we'll be sure to add it in.
All right. I have 2 questions left and then we'll wrap the Q&A. And if any come in after that, we'll answer them in the actual chat. So second to last from Ashley Holly, can you toggle between analytics for individual entities and the organization as a whole?
Yeah. So, Lyndall, you are the master of the analytics view, given your PM background. Um, I would love to answer this, but it only feels right to let you.
Yeah, sure. So right now, analytics is per legal entity. However, within the next 2 weeks, we'll be scaling that up to an enterprise level as well.
Awesome. All right. Last question, and then a lot have come through since I just said that we were on our second to last question. So we will answer them in the chat. Let me open up with Erica's question. For the freelancer package, are there only 3 clients allowed per month and 10 for the professional consultant? And I actually had a question from someone else probably worth answering here as well. What do you do if you have more than 10 clients?
Yeah, thank you, Maya, and great pick, because I was actually going to ask you to open this one up before we end. So, Erica, you have the ability to manage 3 clients as 3 organizations in your workbench at a time. What you can do is you can always delete an organization and then open up another one, and manage it that way. If you're not able to do what you need using that level of access, we again provide the tier with the 10 organizations at once. This is quite literally just the number of organizations that you can have managing kind of separately in your workbench. There's no problem with deleting an org and adding a new one. If you work with 6 clients in a month, but you do work with 3 of them at a time and then another 3 every 2 weeks, you can absolutely delete those organizations and create new ones. It's just about kind of what level of access and segmenting do you want available to you in Workbench. And then if you work with more than 10 clients, we'd love to chat with you. We are absolutely, as I mentioned earlier, trying to make sure that this is customized to your needs. And so if we need to add an additional tier for people who are working with 10 plus clients at a time, we'd be happy to do so.
Awesome. All right. The team requested that we just keep the Q&A rolling, and we'll just exhaust the questions out. And if you guys want to stay for that, that's amazing. So we're going to keep going.
And make sure, again, if you do drop off, don't forget the promo code for our subscription tiers is launch90. And make sure to sign up by the end of this week.
Awesome. All right. Next question. I've been using Instrumental and have loved the program. However, the research is still a beast. It seems that this platform considerably reduces the amount of time that I would be researching. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Really what we're trying to do is provide tools that not just help you work, but do the work for you, so that you can delegate the tasks that are the most time consuming and require the least amount of your specific expertise. So things like diving down into researching and scanning through all of the NoFos before creating your shortlist, that's exactly the type of activity that we're automating. And that is why our search is designed, and why we spent 2 years building out and truly inventing some new technology, so that we can provide only those winners.
Awesome. Next is from Madison. How many corporate and foundation with live grant opportunities do you have beyond profiles?
So this number is constantly changing. We refresh our data every night. So as soon as a new grant opportunity comes online, we're able to see it. So that's really dynamic. And as I'm sure you'll know, there are kind of dips and troughs, or peaks and troughs, throughout the financial year. I couldn't speak to it right now, as I just don't know off the top of my head. I would assume that group represents around 20 to 30,000 live grant opportunities in the database.
Also, hi, Madison. Hope you're doing well.
Next, does Grantx include opportunities for-profit organizations and small businesses?
Absolutely. Like I mentioned, we are coming into this working very hard to try and make sure we can be the solution for the grant funding industry. This means making sure that this is a tool that everyone can use. Nonprofits, for-profits, academic institutions, research organizations, and everything, above and all between. We want this to be something that, really this is all about kind of democratizing access to funding, which is also why we've kind of set up our pricing this way.
Awesome. Next is from Connor. Do we have progress on a list of historical grant winners from these different agencies or foundations?
I don't understand this question. Lyndall, do you?
I do, yeah. So progress, 95%. This is data that we already have. Currently, we're working on the best way to surface it to our users within the platform. Again, this is something that can be expected within the kind of next 2 weeks of launches and patches.
Thanks. How do you keep up with federal opportunities besides just having your AI return what is current and upcoming? How can you determine what falls off or gets canceled?
This is a great question. Lyndall, were you pointing to Kevin?
I was pointing to Kevin.
Okay, well, Kevin, let me answer it first for a second. It's also very funny because Lyndall, on my screen, Kevin is on the opposite side of you, so you're just pointing into space to me.
Oh, on my screen as well. I realized that as I pointed, but didn't want to make it a thing.
Awesome. It's the cold. Yeah, so this is something we are actively working very hard on. We can gather information on basically what's been published about a grant. So if they are updating the grant live, we're able to have that info. If it's not something that is as publicly available, again, we're only able to scrape the internet. We're not really able to scrape, emails between organizations. If it's something that are kind of backdoor communication lines about what's being frozen, what's being canceled based on recent policy changes or funding program changes. However, Kevin and I were on a call for about 2 hours last night up until about 1 a.m. for Kevin, trying to come up with solutions for this.
Awesome. Do you anticipate creating a subscription option that doesn't include the workbench?
I hadn't thought of it, but that's a great idea. We'd be happy to chat with you about that. And you're able to book a call on our website, and we'll hop on. And I'd like to hear more about this, because if that's something people are interested in, we'd absolutely open something up.
Sweet.
Also, while you pick the next question, I saw someone asking about the ability to filter opportunities that focus on fiscally sponsored applications only. Again, this type of kind of filtering and sorting through, our GRASP system does automatically. So if you're only eligible for opportunities that are directed towards fiscally sponsored applications, then that's what you're going to see in the search results. We're making sure that our search results are already passing kind of that first and second review, that maybe 10 hours that you would spend on another search tool, going through and filtering and changing all of your filters and all of your keywords to try and build this big list of things that you may be a fit for, and then going through and reviewing yourself. We handle that whole process for you.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to show this one now. Do you have any materials that summarize Grantx that I can share with an organization who might be interested? I can actually answer this one. We're going to be posting with a recap of this onto LinkedIn, onto our newsletter. This video is going to go out on YouTube and just live there forever. So we'll include all the resources that you can use if you want to share those. That will be coming out in the next day or so.
And we also have a one-pager we could send over, and would be happy to chat. Again, we really want to connect with as many people as we can. We're here to help.
Awesome. Next question. This one's getting a little cut off, but will Grantx be able to identify the pattern of grant winners for the suggested grant? For example, foundations state that public school systems can apply, but in reality, they do not choose public school systems. This knowledge would also help eliminate potential funding sources from the database that are provided.
Yeah, so this is exactly what I was talking about when I mentioned we're paying attention to funders' evaluation criteria as well as their behavioral patterns, looking at who they give funding to historically. This is so that if a foundation is giving grants for a very general topic in the nonprofit space and you're a smaller nonprofit, you can make sure that this foundation doesn't give money to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation every year, much larger organizations, because we don't want to waste your time on an application that you're not likely to win. And whatever the next question is, I will not answer it. Lyndall and Kevin, help me keep my mouth shut.
Okay, we really only have one more question, which is, are subscriptions purchased on a month-by-month basis, or is it a yearly subscription with a monthly fee?
Great question. Yeah, subscriptions are month by month rolling. There's no annual commit unless you go with one of the enterprise organizations, which can be specifically tailored. And the only reason that there's an annual commit, by the way, is because of the length of grant decision-making times. So that's annually binding, month by month rolling. Use as much or as little as you need.
All right. That's the last of the questions that we have. So we are good to wrap.
Awesome. Thank you, Maya, so much. Thank you, everyone who joined. Lyndall and Kevin, thank you guys as well. And remember, hop on Grantx.com, sign up, schedule a call with us. We'd love to chat. And don't forget the promo code LAUNCH90, all caps, all one word, for 90% off.
Awesome.